welcome to Elite Cadre, the War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I'm Mike.
I'm Kurt.
I'm Dom.
I'm Benj.
Excellent. We're all here. Ish. Sort of. Maybe.
In spirit.
Yes. No, actually, it's Iron Brew. It just looks that way.
Oh.
Not enough spirit, yes.
It is, in fact, Iron Brew 1901, a fabulous vintage.
Wait, it's not extra.
No, 1901. The one with the sugar in. The one that doesn't taste of sweetness.
What? Oh my god, you're drinking full fat in this day and age.
Yes, because sweetness tastes of metal, and they are horrifying.
I think that's more a problem with your palate.
Oh, yes. No, I recognise that's a me thing, but it is also a fairly common thing. Anyway.
Also, it was a long time before I realised what the main flavour of Iron Brew actually is, or where it comes from. Just to segue off very slightly.
Girders?
Yeah, there's that. I remember that. Yes, obviously girders. Moving on.
It's not quite like
I mean, I was going to make the same joke because you said it tasted like metal.
Ba-dum. It's not quite like Tizer, where the main flavour is carrot. But that again,
it's banana. It's bananas.
Is it?
Is that in a response as it's mad, it's bananas, or it is actually
banana?
Totally.
No, it's actually the main flavour ingredient, I believe, is bananas. But let's not obsess with Iron Brew for the whole episode.
Yeah,
we really are an odd flavoured. Does everybody here have coriander that tastes like soap, or
no?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Oh, that's weird then.
Love me a bit of coriander. Yes. Anyway, we have come back after the Christmas break to find that the entire War Machine's been not turned on its head, but somewhat tilted by the.
I've been tilted.
Yes.
I've been tilted. I can say that.
Somewhat tilted by the January update. Now we're not going to go through the whole thing in detail. You can load up the War Machine app and find whatever has happened to your faction there. You can also load up the entire changelog from Steamforge website, which is, I do have to say, a rather meaty 58 pages of A4.
Jesus.
Had you not looked at this?
I have looked at it, but I didn't scroll to see how many pages it was. I just looked for the bits I wanted to look at.
Well, at the top it says page blah of 58.
Didn't read that.
Have you got? Should have gone to Specsavers.
I couldn't see it. I said I didn't read it.
So there are plenty of changes for every faction. There's some developer commentary on some of it. But if we just go through some highlights for us, I realise for you, Benj, that might be somewhat difficult at this point because you haven't done much with the game in a while.
No. But it'd be good to hear people's experiences. I mean, I am in the background painting stuff, but getting it to a table, not so much yet.
Well, painting is a large chunk of the hobby.
Yeah.
The majority, one could argue, for some people.
That is entirely fair, yes. Having spent an unreasonable amount of hours painting this last weekend. But there we go. So, who would like to go first with some highlights for them?
And we can alphabetically scroll down and skipping through the legacy factions, unless we want to talk about Crix. I was going to skip Signar.
Yeah, I see what you want to skip all the way to Signar. Missing it, all those.
All the way to Signar, all the way down to page 8 or 9 or whatever it is.
Two chunky pages of Circle, one of Convergence, only one for Crucible Guard. Then again, they've had most of their rework when they came out in War Machine 3D, didn't they? Yep,
they did. Yeah.
There's several pages for Crix because obviously they have a new faction contained within, and then we get to Signar. So, Kurt, I think you're more on this one than anyone else.
I don't like to admit it. It makes me feel bad, but yes, I do play Signar. I'm not going to obsess on First Army. Let's move past that and Storm Knights. There are quite a lot of amendments. Fundamentally, most of it is Matt and Rat have gone down by 1. That's an awful lot of it. There's a few other changes and bits and pieces. Housekeeper's Cadre, the gun mages. They're quite interesting, mostly fairly minor, but Kane has had quite an overhaul. The short version, the TLDR, is Major Astor Kane is now Kane 2 again. It's very, very, very similar to Kane 2 from however long ago that is.
I have coined the term that he's Kane 4.2 because he very much goes back to his Mark II iteration, certainly with the feat, certainly with the Reload Infinite.
Which was my favourite. I loved Kane 2. I really enjoyed playing Kane 2.
Yeah.
His infinite reloads and his increasing damage on his guns with every shot for a feat, so it doesn't buff everybody else. His battle group don't gain benefits from his feat like the previous, more recent version. Fundamentally, he's very similar to Kane 2. He has a Gate Crasher instead of being a spell. It's now an ability if he kills something. he can then make a 5-inch quote unquote teleport. Yeah, very, very similar. So interesting. I haven't put it on the table yet, but I'm keen to. I definitely have a soft spot for Kane. Back 13th, they've essentially simplified as much as all these granted abilities have all gone away and have all been given the rules independently. So I think that's fairly universal, isn't it, throughout a lot of the character units.
So looking back on game as a whole, if you look back at the old Great Bears and stuff like that, they already had this simplification go in, and then it seems like this update is another round of let's just make them vaguely similar, can we? Obviously, they still have their individual weapons.
Yes.
But that whole kind of, oh, hang on, which one was it that gives them true sight? It was that one. Oh, that one's dead, so they can't make that shot. You don't have so much of that anymore, which, like...
Playing against some opponents, especially Rich Dean, he would know better which one to kill to get rid of certain abilities than I did. Like, oh, let's lose true sight by killing that one, mate. Is that what that one does? I don't know.
Also down to health 5. I don't know how much of a difference it makes.
I've thought about that. So, very little, I think. Fundamentally, because Matt and Rat have gone down almost entirely across the board, casters a bit more vague, but outside of casters, across the board, everything's gone down by 1. That means higher defense units like Def 15, Black 13. I think that they're going to be just as dead if you can hit them, but it's harder to hit them now.
I think the one instance where it makes a difference and really makes a difference, AOE.
Yeah.
If
I was going to say they are easier to AOE snipe.
Yeah. If blasts go into them, they are cooked essentially.
I mean, blasts are usually power 8-ish. It depends, or lower, maybe 10. So they're armor 12. Armor 12, is that right? I had it on the screen just now. No, I've got rounders on the screen instead. And so there were 5 boxes. That's 17. So they're not dead, but I'm not trying to defend. So they can walk through it.
Power 8, it's reasonable that you might kill one. Like rolling a 9 is not out of the realm of possibility. But yes, I think they've been made appropriate for where they should be, rather than that surprising health 8 that they were. There's always a question.
Yeah. Storm Legion, I'm not going to obsess over, partly because I sold my Storm Legion. There have been some changes.
Yeah, Storm Legion got a lot of what everyone else did. You know, Rat 6 is now Rat 5. Rat 7 is now Rat 6.
Everyone did. Yeah. But they've had some rearrangement of some of the spells. Obviously, we didn't mention it, but the spell rack's gone, and then the spells have been allocated to an extent, allocated or reassigned or swapped around.
Yes.
So everybody has a fixed spell list now. I don't really want to go through that in detail with Storm Legion, but there have been some changes, some shuffling. But I think there's definitely some winners and there's some losers. I don't think Huxley's quite as dangerous as he was, but I'll be happy to be proven wrong at some point.
I think the major thing is that, like, Athena's card, they just took the card, tore it into little pieces, and said, right, can we do a better version of this now, please? Like, it's like, we've got the new feat, we've got a whole new spell list. It's, everything is like, cut this, add this, put this on here, gain blessed, add electroleap. Like, oh, okay.
Well, she's kind of gained some of what was her name? There was a previous Signar caster who was Morrowind.
Connie.
And she gained sort of. Sorry,
Connie.
Yeah, they kind of blended a bit there. Constance Blaze, yeah, they've kind of blended some of her stuff in there. I think. It's definitely got that vibe.
Yeah, I think they said in some of the commentary on this one they were very happy to find that in her background she'd been declared as Morrowind, because it gave them something interesting to work with. There was something thematic they could change her to, rather than just fiddling with the numbers. And I think that speaks a lot to how much thought has gone into some of this.
No, that's interesting, because Dan, one of the people we play with a lot, has been really diving into the lore, and he remembers passages that he can't find anymore. He thinks it's a bit of a deeper retcon.
Ooh, interesting.
I think they have written some new fluff and some fluff changes. I'm sure I saw Sherwin mention that somewhere, or Sherwin was referenced in the change, but I can't remember what was there and what wasn't, so I can't speak to that with authority.
No, I can't speak on it with any authority past I heard someone else talking about it at length.
I mean, we know
interesting though. I like it.
All the lore that came with Riot Quest is just quietly been shuffled off the table. Which is probably for the best. The models are still playable. They are still there in War Room, just slowly being pushed ever further into the Armies of Legend section. Unless anybody else wants to bring anything else up in Storm Legion, I'll move on to Gravediggers. You want to move on to the meat of what you've been looking at, do you? I do, yeah, because that's the army that I'm playing and painting right now. Crates have had some minor tweaks. Ammo crate gets some health.
They're now inconsequential, a new rule, which means basically you can't contest, can't score, can't do anything, don't exist. Which is fine. I think it's fair. Being able to remote drop things into contest was always a little bit
I think
shady.
That's what should have been from the first place.
Agreed.
I've been praying for that change. I've been praying for that change since the not the Hurricane. What was the first Signar Colossal? We could just crap out some solos.
Oh, those things, yeah.
I know it's the Storm Strider, but it's the
looking.
No, it's gone.
Yeah, but I've been waiting for a rule like this ever since that landed.
Yeah, that's fair, because they used to be able to just pop the storm pods onto objectives and go ha ha. Oh,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
if I have to roll dice to lob a lump of metal down the field, how can they land delicate electronically? Pinpoint precision.
Indeed.
Storm Wall is the model you're thinking of.
Storm Wall is it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So crates have changed. Obviously, we're going to keep repeating ourselves a little bit, but the majority of mats and rats have come down, or at least the often the more significant, or the I'd say sometimes the lesser significant stats, and sometimes more models have only had their rat or only had their mat come down depending on how they behave. Biggest single change is definitely Captain Buck Hasker. He's gone from being the worst caster in Gravediggers to arguably, I've heard bird stated, one of the top 3 in the game. I believe I heard on the business podcast, but that remains to be seen. He's definitely better. His feet is massively better. His whole control area now becomes rough terrain, and all enemy models lose Pathfinder. So so you have to fly to ignore his feet. And he still puts out 3 mines, but when you move within 3 inches of the mines, they now do a magic power 14 with 3 plus rather than a 4 plus. So instead of a 50-50, is now 66% chance of knocking them down and doing a power 14, which is quite nice.
Very, very painful.
Yeah, you didn't like it, did you?
No.
He also got Carnage, which is obviously was everywhere and is now in 2 or 3 places in the whole game. Although last Thursday, Dom and I both had it, which is a bit weird.
And the cost's gone up on it.
Costs gone up on it for everyone, yeah, which is, I think, appropriate. It's very good, especially as we're now reducing. Yeah, it's a hit fixing spell. There's mileage in that now. He gains Silence of Death as well, which is so he has a hit fix and he has an armor penetrating buff.
Oh, so no wonder he's in the top 3 in the game then.
Yeah, I think he's got a toolkit of spells. He himself isn't all that. If you want to send him in, it's a brave day. He's not fragile, but he's not. He has escort as well, which is quite nice. So he makes everybody go a bit quicker, which is always favourable. Other casters, there are minor tweaks and changes, but fundamentally they're not massive. What else is worth mentioning in Gravediggers? There've been some tweaks to the heavy field gun, but they are tweaks. But it's interesting what's come out of it. There is a new rule. Once per turn for the big heavy, the massive 80mm cannon. Once per turn, during a friendly faction model's activation, after an attack or special action that has applied flare to an enemy model is resolved, this model may immediately make a basic ranged attack. So you get free shot with the heavy field gun out of activation, which is quite nice. And it comes down in cost to 7.
So how much stuff have you got that applies flare then?
A lot.
Oh dear.
So all my light jacks can have a flare gun on them. The chain gun has its first shot. So the field gun's been modified, so its first shot, if it hits, applies flare, and one of the guns on the light jack has the same rule. So its first shot ignores stealth and applies flare if it hits. And as well as the commandos have marked target as well. Or the marked target's now range 3 rather than range 5. So potentially lots of stuff that I wasn't fielding before, I should add as well. Vargas, who was the poster boy, has lost things like Carnage and lost a damage buff. Still got most of the rest of his spells, but he doesn't seem to be all that anymore, unfortunately. I may come back round. I'm going to play Hasker for a while and see a bit of Kane and see how I feel. Is there anything else worth mentioning? Jackson had some points tweaks, but that's common across the board. That's happened in various places. The lesser used weapons have come down in price. The most used weapons have generally gone up in price. The shield's gone up in price on the heavy, and the rowdies have similar treatment to Black 13. They've had their ability simplified, but their weapons are still all different like they were before. And the Sky Bomber and Sky Raider have been added to Gravediggers, but they don't have a special ability like other races. They just get them cheaper. So the Sky Bomber is only 12 and the Sky Raider is only 10. I really don't know if I want to use those, if you can get them anyway, but that's a different story.
Sky Raider apparently also loses the Sky Ladder.
Yeah, you can't move people around in a junky way.
I'm not sure if I've really seen the Sky Bomber and the Sky Raider on the table.
You've never seen them?
No.
I've run
What's
the
about
bomber
Welsh?
a few times. It was amazingly oppressive at the time, but I can't remember if that was before the original nerf this time last year.
It was a while ago you first had that. I remember that, but I can't remember when it was you played it. Interesting changes. I like it. There's a lot of adjustment, and I'm definitely struggling with the amount we've got to learn and change across the board. But yeah, it's a lot to change, and we'll come on to Steamroller a bit later on. But the combination of the new Steamroller and all these rules, it's a lot to take in. I've made so many mistakes last week because there's so much to try and take in. But processing that post game, having had one game, I'm already feeling a lot better. It is leveling, I think. Is the short version.
So does it move the Gravediggers into a more fun place to play?
That's the aim, and we have heard that. That was in one of the other AMAs or a conversation somewhere that what they wanted to change with Gravediggers is that it wasn't fun. But I think you've still got the essence of the same army and the same concept. But I think the hope is that it is more fun. It isn't as lethal. Like everything, it's not as lethal. It isn't like chess. The game had got very chess-like, and while I quite liked it in some respects, the hit roll on the dice, we were all tweaking it to the point where it was almost irrelevant. And if it didn't hit, I mean, let's not talk about dice. Dom won my game last week, was just very silly on dice. But
it did get to the point where you could assume that any Cage or Jack that was coming in would start at mat 9 and probably be mat 10. Like at that point, that hit roll is just 1 in 36 chance I miss.
Yeah,
this does not feel good.
No, and it's not, and the games does not have that anymore. I mean, there's still a lot of buffing. It's still there, but you have to, as you said earlier, you have to pay resources in order to gain the same place you were before.
Yeah,
a bit like Plugger. Plugger's nearly the same, but Plugger has lost stealth, and his range of his guns have come down. However, if you play him with Hasker can put smoke clouds out anywhere in his control area, so Plugger can still keep stealth because he can stand in the cloud. So because Hasker has Field Marshal Prowl, so you can still recreate it. But as you said, I think before we start recording, that you have to spend resources to get the same thing, and I don't disagree with that. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think.
Yeah, it becomes a choice, and I think that's important
Indeed.
for War Machine.
Yeah, and if yes, like you say, you have to work for it. But if you're working for it, it's focused. It's not just army-wide.
Yeah, agreed. Where do we want to move on to now?
Well, although I have Dusk to play, I don't think I'm qualified to make any comments on those. And I don't think you're playing at the moment, Kurt. So
no, I have played Dusk and I've looked at it, but not in a great deal of detail. So no, I haven't. I don't have a lot in my head. Similar things as before, though. Stats have all come down. There are some tricky changes, and some of the casters have changed. And yeah, interesting. I think they've leveled the casters, is what I've heard.
Yeah, we can move over them and probably Grimkin as well.
Well, I'd like. Can we just pour one out for Grimkin? They have got.
Are they crap now? Can you say that they're all crap now and they just die?
No, they just got slaughtered. A good number of their solos and a unit even was just, you don't get these anymore. They're moved off to Legacy.
Oh yes, they got Legends.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel I am excited by this change because I love my Grimkin, but in a bit of a roundabout way.
Piggyback.
We know. Yeah, all gone.
Sorry.
We know that after Infernals, the Grimkin are the next for their legacy refresh, and I've felt for a long time that Grimkin had one of the tightest design in the game. The whole army was just so interlocked and interlinked, and had such great internal balance. But I can only imagine they've removed these to make room for whatever becomes the command starter equivalent with a character unit and everything.
I will say, despite the fact that they have had good internal balance, good interlinking, they were one of the least fun armies to play into.
Yeah.
Not even because they said no half the time. It's because they said, do you want to do a thing? Do you want to attack me? Go on.
Are you sure you want to
attack? Oh, you want to do damage? Oh, well. And you knew that everything you were going to do, you were just going to pay.
So I'm just going to play this card, and it's just going to bring all the things back that you just killed, and I'm going to be able to charge you in your turn.
It wasn't quite that bad.
It felt like it.
But I get your point.
I will say, yes, I will agree with that. It felt like it. Even if that wasn't the case, there's a lot of feels bad with Grimkin. I think there's.
It felt like it was personal. I think that was the problem. I think that the people took a lot of glee in doing that to people.
I mean, doesn't that just tell you?
Maybe I was
Grimkin. No, I take the point. I think, I mean, I think there's ways you can make that army into less bad of an experience and still have that reactive play style. I also think that a lot of it, because Grimkin was one of those, you bought into the faction at a specific point or not at all because of the supply situation. A lot of people didn't run into Grimkin all the time. So when you did run into it, it's like, hang on, what does this do? What does the Clockatrice do again? Yeah.
I mean, as a player, I didn't get that side of it, but I can appreciate it coming from other people. In this instance, it's going to be interesting to see what they do to Grimkin. But I think for me, as far as the change document goes, I would have liked to have seen them hold off the Legends ding until June, when it was actually all being done, rather than, we're going to take away these key pieces now, and it's going to suck for 6 months.
Fair, actually. Yeah, no, that's entirely fair.
They must have looked at the data to make that decision to see how many people were still playing Grimkin. Surely, at this, I don't know, to leave them that long in the dark. I don't know.
I mean, in the early days of Mark IV, they were doing really well, like Infernals type well, but it has tailed off. Where Infernals seem to have gone strength to strength even before they got their refresh announcement. So I don't think it's entirely supply and demand, or the lack thereof.
I mean, just to give you some
Infernals is similarly
just to give you some kind of idea on the numbers here. Again, this is all available on Longshanks, and these numbers are going to become somewhat irrelevant soon, given the patch has happened. Infernals at the top, well, number 2 technically because of Scorn Exalted, but that's a whole different thing.
No.
Infernals have had 850 games in Longshanks. Crucible Guard, who are close to Grimkin at 15th, 473. Grimkin, 298 games.
wow.
Compared to like Storm Legion, 2,500. Shadowflame Shard, over 3,000. Gravediggers, nearly 2,000.
Makes me want to break mine out and wreck them again.
Yeah. Even Wintercore down in 24th. Behind like like 5 classic factions in a row have had nearly 2,500 games. So it's Grimkin are a rare meat. Things, but I take the point. They could probably have left them alone until the refresh happened.
But
And I quite like the piggybacks
I am excited for what the refresh will bring.
Yes. Yeah. Next up, we have another faction that probably has some room to complain by that top line of models moved from Prime to Legacy, which is Infernals. We know they're also getting a refresh. We know they're getting a new Infernal Master. They're getting all sorts of new toys. But they've lost Eilish, they lost Orin, they lost Saxonoric, and they lost Crow's Cutthroats. Probably due to old age in many instances, but and also Eilish being an entirely new solo now.
Yeah, I've got the old one.
Yeah, so I can't speak to much of the actual changes for Infernals, but we know they're being touched more later, as it were. Now on to a faction that is close to my heart and Dom's, with Kador.
Boo.
Can't speak much to 5th Division or Armored Corps unless you want to, Dom.
No.
So we've got the SKS 6 cadre. So obviously you've got the hands being simplified. All Granted's gone. They just have Prowl and Repo, and they're slightly cheaper and lack inspiration, which seems fair. I've got no major bones to pick there, especially with everything else. Losing Matt and Rat, losing one off them doesn't feel the worst.
Seems fair. They're insane at times on their own.
Yeah. Lazarenko, Jack Buster lost critical stagger and gained critical knockdown. Kurt, I think you may be the reason why critical stagger's been going off things, but
What because of Lilith?
Yes.
Very well.
I'm gonna stagger you colossal. Does it have reload? Oh no.
You do it again. I'm gonna do it again next turn. I'm gonna keep doing it. Yep.
Yep. That's it for SKS 6 though. Very very light touch. Although Vilcol should really be in there. But fine. So next, Old Umbre. So Dom, I'll leave this one in your capable hands.
Yeah, I mean, they're the newest faction. I was expecting them to get the lightest touch, and I think it shows. A few standout bits, like I think mainly it's Maximum Windstorm, although he did get the new version of Windstorm. It's just downgraded to Warping Wings. But there's a lot there to like. I don't think they've been hit particularly bad or hard. one of my favourite changes is that Strix can now teleport a bit like Bodan, which is obscene, and I need to exploit this to the max.
No.
Yes. But I don't think there was anything hugely eye-catching, but then nothing got a massive touch-up or rework like a lot of the other factions did. There's just still a lot that I want to play and experiment with.
I think Strix going up a point was appropriate. I think because I don't think I understood the complexity or the. It's not that Strix has a lot of rules. It's just you can't charge the thing, and it can come at you from anywhere. I just because it's got permanent. Oh my god, the ability's gone from my head as I started the sentence. It can move out of the way when you try to charge it. Admonition all the time. It's not a spell. It just has it all the time.
Oh god,
Just
that's awful.
And because
flies,
he's got it all the time, there is no token to remind your opponent of it either.
Which is a reference back to when Dom tried to charge one of my casters when I had a token there quite plainly saying ammunition and he missed it.
Yeah.
Different game altogether ages ago, but yes.
But I mean, Strix is obscene in a game where everyone's had their attack stats reduced. He's sat very happily at Def 14 base, and there are a lot of ways that you can increase that. In my game with Kurt, I took Morozov, the shapeshifter warlock, who's got Forced Evo. Yeah, that'll go on him. Effective base Def 16. And oh look, that's put his. I think his primary attack is House 16 with Brutal Charge. Also, Force Evo puts that to 20, and then charging would be 22. Oh, look, I can cast Primal on it as well. And the buff stacking in Umbre is still there. It's
the fact
I'm glad to see.
The fact it's got combo pitch as well.
Yes.
I mean, it does.
This is fine.
There is a little bit of not quite scornergy, but it does again. It forces you to make a choice. You can either have when you go in, you can either have the brutal charge or the combo pitch, or actually you can have brutal charge and aim for chain attack shifter, which is you've got to have both attacks hit.
Which is always going to happen if you want it to, because he's also got Future Sight for boosting afterwards.
Yes, Future Sight is Future Sight and admonition built in. No wonder this thing's like 16 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with you wouldn't have done it in Mark 2 or 3, but with the no facing, and he's got flight, you can charge behind something and then chain attack, throw whatever you're charging at directly back towards your army as a roundabout threat extension.
Or
a Mark 2 type trick.
No, because you couldn't do it with Mark 2 because you couldn't see behind you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, we've forgotten these things about facing and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Mark 2 trick was the Mark 2 trick was to throw the Dire Troll. The Dire Troll would then get up, sacrifice its movement to get up and turn that way, and then throw the model back into your army so everybody else could eat it.
It's like the was it Barney's Flying Circus?
In
Mark 3 as well.
You could do it with crocodiles, couldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, because they had was it Rise and Death Roll? I think or something like that.
Yeah, it was insane.
Ah, God, just, please make it stop. Strix is tasty. I mean, on the face of it, Power 16, 15, nothing impressive. But then when you start talking about, we can layer the buffs on here, it becomes like, no.
And you can't
like this.
And facing him, you can't charge it, or you can, but it's very difficult to work out. How do you charge Strix? You have to have two heavies that both have line of sight and the range to be able to deal with them being 3 inches further away.
Yeah.
In order to have a hope of hitting it and killing it, and then it's high def anyway. It's I actually have an answer.
He seems above the curve.
You are looking at a lot of investment of resources to kill him.
Yes.
And it's not always worth it. So.
But if you don't, it comes out, His threat range is 11. That's the only saving grace is his threat range is 11. It's hard. I think you can rush him. That's the only thing you could do to try and extend that.
Yes. Under Olisea, the tree woman, she kept lashing tendrils off the rack so she can give it to melee 2 as well.
Oh, of course, it's got eyeless.
It can go up to 14 its threat.
Why wouldn't it have eyeless sight?
Because it's a magical owl
didn't notice
thing.
that. Dan didn't notice that till I pointed that out. I was a bit like, the cloud that you thought you couldn't see through before, I think you could have seen through it because it's got an eye on his car.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back on subject for the changes, I think probably one of the most impactful changes to Umbre is the fact that the Animus hasn't changed in himself, but he's gone up to cost 3, which is for something that was a auto take of 2 in most lists, has suddenly become a lot more expensive and points for type already. So that is actually quite a hindrance now.
Okay.
Sorry, what's gone up?
The Animist.
Oh.
I heard it as Animus originally, but yeah.
So did I. That's what I was looking for, yeah.
Oh, and that's quite a lot of abilities stacked on one model as well.
You would struggle to do an ombre list without them, but they were just, it's that weird niche of, it's a support piece that's meant to be taken, so you can't criticize it for being an auto include, but on the other hand, 2 points probably was too cheap for it.
Oh, for passing out D3 corpse tokens for blowing up a warrior model. Yeah, okay, and craft talisman as well.
Yeah, and he just casually heals everything within range,
Of course.
which is amazing when you're running a brick of multi-wound models.
Yep, no, that's. I mean, I do think there has been, and we'll get to partially in a bit later. There has been a subtle rebalancing of support solos. If you look across the board, certainly in Kador, Mat and Rat has gone into the absolute toilet. And they've often become more expensive for doing roughly the same thing that they were before. I think there definitely seems to be a subtext of take the things that do the stuff, not the 15 useless solos and small units that sit at the back doing nothing.
Support is theft.
Pardon?
Support is theft.
Yes, true.
Even more true now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to what happened with Wintercore in a second, but
Well, did you want to move on to them now?
I mean, we can do. Well, actually, no. We got the Annihilator cadre first.
Which are not actually a cadre anymore.
No, it's weird. I think I know. I think because they've called them that once, they're still internally in documents got that on them or something. But yeah.
If you look through the document, the other cadres that got
they've been removed.
they got
yeah.
Yeah, they got rolled in as the effective Winter Corps command starter.
I think there's one more that still isn't integrated in the changelog.
But Chimera isn't integrated, but all the rest of them are. It was weird that those two stood out as being separate.
Yeah. Annihilator cadre, Avalanche. Still not sure where you take it. I'll just. It's got worse mat, it's got worse speed. I don't know what it exists for. So I'm sure someone will find something interesting to do with it, but it's not going to be me. The big glow up really was Sakura, who it used to be a little bit fiddly in that she'd got the a star action for desperate pace on the Men of War. Now that just becomes if they start their activation within 10 inches, they get +2 speed. So there's none of this, oh, I have to activate Sakura first, but she's behind this. And no, it's just, if you activate, you can go the extra distance, which is absolutely lovely. They definitely are pushing for it to be a bit more midline, and her hit fixes become more expensive. So,
it is still cheap enough to be cast by Damian Korovnik, though.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Very true. The other change, this is one of a more universal one, and I think it's happened to most of the factions. So, if you have something that is reactive to another model being destroyed, a friendly model being destroyed, and is a move and an attack at the start of a turn, they all seem to have been rolled into a vengeance move, which are all standardized now for timing purposes.
Do you need a token for vengeance?
Yes, 12 inches across and wrap round Ash Mitchell's face.
Nice. Good that you caught that.
For anyone who's out of the loop on that one, several years ago it was declared that unless you had a token for vengeance when it was triggered, you couldn't reliably activate it on your turn if someone called the judge over to the table. There was a lot of moaning about this, so what happened was one of these zones at the time, which is a 12-inch metal ring, got covered in duct tape and just had vengeance written on it. And in the pack that you gave to players before the game, it was just quietly inserted into one player's bag, so that when they opened it, they just had a massive vengeance token. Like, all right, fair enough, I'll use that then. So,
as well as the standardization of vengeance, they've clarified that it is definitely only a melee attack now, not a basic attack to stop all those vengeance in shots, but also the timing.
Which were few and far between, weren't they? But yeah, there were a few corner cases, weren't there?
Yeah, but it's now less efficient in that you have to declare all your vengeance movement on a unit before you even start rolling the
yes.
first attack dice.
Yes, that is a very important one. It used to be that the timing was you could move a model, make the attack, then move another, make an attack with that. No. Now, if it's a unit, you move them all, and then you start making your attacks. It is the smallest of nerfs, because again, it's still only a 3-inch move, but it's going to come in important in some places once or twice. But that just having that standardization of the timing and the clarification, and that you can now say it's a vengeance move rather than just saying, oh, it's like vengeance, but
Yeah.
How does it differ from vengeance? Well, it's a 5-inch move. Well, you can make range attacks. Well, you can blah 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 blah.
But also, because it's standardized as a vengeance move, there aren't any queries about, does this stack with vengeance? Can I get 2 attacks in maintenance?
Yeah. Now, presumably, you would just pick if there was differentiation, because there is room for it. You would just have to pick the one, because same named effects don't stack. But yeah, that was a very nice way of dealing with the fact that there were an awful lot of these things in the game that didn't follow any set path. Now they're all just vengeance moves.
Vengeance.
Controller, as I said, support solo. So obviously, Mat Rat dead to 5. That's a mana war. That's meant to be elite troops, and it's Mat and Rat 5. It could just it could just poop out a wall once per game, or a fire pit, or a powder keg, or a spike trap.
Yeah.
And then spend the rest of the game just moving it around.
Well, he could poop out a powder keg and immediately throw it with his open fist.
Yes, which I had not clocked that one for the entire of the game so far. That open fist meant he does have a throw attack. That was a very interesting one.
It is worth also pointing out for him that even though it wasn't in the change notes, he's lost his Jack Marshall and drive ability.
Oh yeah,
was not in the change notes, but it has been confirmed to be intended and correct.
I mean, I think at 58 pages we can excuse them perhaps not quite getting everything in there. I'm genuinely surprised that the document is as typo free as it is. But yes, I hadn't actually noticed that he was missing the Jack Marshall. To be honest, how many people are using Jack Marshall in the current version of the game?
Grave diggers.
Well, yeah.
Only because stuff's coming in there without a controller, I think, technically.
I think stuff's coming in from the sky.
Yeah. So that's fair. But like most armies are not going, I'll Jack Marshall this because of benefit X, Y, Z.
Yeah, no, it's not like
Yeah, it's not like the old. It's not like the old days. Where you have that pseudo focus and could do what you wanted with it. It's now much more restrictive. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to miss Jack Marshall on the controller. Then we move on to the Winter Corps themselves. Oh boy, that's a list. I mean, they were a faction that was in need of some love. So, I mean, where to even start? The big one, the battle mechanic, has now gained the ability to give +2 speed to their large-based or smaller warjacks, which is nuts. I think a lot of lists are going to start with 2 of those and just move on from there. The Direwolf lost some def, lost some rat, but also everything on it's now cheaper, and its heavy chain gun gained volley fire instead of volume fire. So if you fire the gun into infantry, it gains additional die to hit.
There's a few of those around. There's a few that volume to volley.
Yeah.
Change.
Which I think I think that's a good idea. I've already played with the heavy chain gun. I've got 2. Certainly got 2 on the painting table at the moment. So that's quite nifty. Although the one thing that did go up was the shield. Which I think, Kurt, you said that one of the shields in
The heavy
has gone up as well, hasn't it?
The Valiant heavy shield's gone up. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's another case of where you are trying to sort of push that bell curve a bit by adding a shield or a buckler or whatever. I think that's now the point where they're going, actually, that's going to cost you points. If you want weapons and you want to deal damage, you can have those cheaper. Shield, that'll cost you money, which I can understand, actually.
Did your shield have a gun built into it as well?
Not on the Direwolf.
Interesting.
On the Great Bear, it does, and I'm not sure that changed. No, that didn't change.
It's very interesting because the shield for the Valiant has a similar anti-infantry cannon on it with volley fire, but built into the shield.
Yeah. No, I think the plough shield is left-handed, and The gun is also left-handed, so it's either shield or the volley fire gun.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. Going to the other warjack. That was it. So that seems to be another trend of things being granted magic resistance. Which one of the Great Bear heads was changed to that. I think there's also some stuff in Signal that got Mage Ward instead of Mage Static, which is an interesting choice. I think it's more playable than it used to be, because if you know someone's going to be spell assassinated, yeah, sticking on the Mage Ward head is not too bad of an idea. There's a lot of like fiddle with the points costs, mostly downwards for the Great Bear. Not too much actually happened to it. Then you start getting into the casters, which, yeah. So Baronova up to a control of 16.
Wow.
No, that feat, no, not allowed.
Ever so slightly oppressive.
It's horrific, because you just see it in the middle of the table and you realise it's 16 inches out that way, 16 inches out that way, plus the base. That's 33 and a bit inches across the table. So if you're level with her, there's only like 6 or 7 inches from the edge of the table you can be in and not be in the feet.
Do you think that might change?
I don't,
No.
because I think it's oppressive. I don't think it's unfair. I think because she's
Fast forward to this time next year,
Yeah.
I reckon it will change.
okay. I think people will find a way around it eventually. I think the bigger worry than the feat is possibly her. I forget the name of the spell. The additional die one. Invocations of Wrath, where everything gets the additional die to hit. It's the ultimate hit fixer in Khador, and that is pure abuse, because it means that when you look at the Winter Guard, who are further on, they just start hammering your army. It's not.
It is a bit of faction identity though, because it is very clearly a callback to Signs and Portents, which was hit and damage. I can see why it is the way it is at the moment. I'd be disappointed if they took it away from Khador, because it is such an intrinsic part of its history.
Yeah, I don't think it goes away, but I can see how it could be oppressive,
Great.
as you said. Also had a spell list filled out with Tempest, Veil, Mist, and Occultation, which I think are perfectly fine. I don't think they break anything. The fact that she can cast Tempest twice a turn is perhaps a little painful, especially because she's got Phil Martial Arc node. Yeah, but it would be totally boosted. It would be the whole stack, so not going to happen an awful lot. Borishuk, gain snipe, lose range. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's going to show up more often. He wasn't the most played Khador caster anyway.
It was always fun, and I do look forward to trying out his new iteration.
Vilcool, they've nerfed the assassination threat, and it hurts. Because you can no longer take Avenging Force, and the spell list are fixed, and Vilcool only got Fog of War and Superiority. That, I feel, changes the matchup slightly. Although I will say, Superiority now works on Colossals again, so...
Oh,
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yes! Yeah, a changed text of Superiority to the following. Target friendly faction warjack gains +2 speed, mat, and def, and cannot become knocked down.
Nice.
So you too could have a speed 7 mat 8 Mastodon going choo-choo over the middle of the table.
Ouch.
Yes. Or speed 8 Behemoth, because that's coming, at mat 9. That's actually possibly worse, with crit armor piercing.
You shoot that with some big guns. You shoot that with some big guns and take its speed down by 2.
I pre-ordered my Behemoth today, and I think in a lot of cases I like it more than the Mastodon for most lists.
I think 23 points, it fits in more of them. not gonna lie. The fact that it gets auto boosted attacks. Rage attack rolls are boosted while the advanced subcortex is active. Just oh boy, that's not a change. That's already in there, but yeah. Savarin might as well just read becomes Irusk.
Because more risk.
Well, it got rid of Icy Grip, which fine.
No, he can't be more Irusk. He hasn't got a big enough hat.
Gains fire for effect. Gains air burst. Gains iron flesh.
It always was quite risky, wasn't it, before?
Yep. He's also he's lost his hit fixer though, which is interesting. But yeah, no, he's going full on Irusk. I can see the hand of Jamie just wandering in there to change that spell. And fire for effect with one of the changes later on is I don't like it. It hurts and stings.
Still needs a bigger hat. If you are going to play him like Irusk, you have to model a bigger hat with green stuff.
3D print it. 3D print it.
I'm not that rich.
I mean, he does have a big
can't.
peaked cap, but yes, I do agree. He could have the like the stovepipe.
Yeah.
Trying to look for other big changes. Oh, Medveditsa. So lost mat, cost goes up. Gain beat back on the claws. And Righteous Vengeance changed from being a mat buff to a vengeance move.
Is it POW 20?
18.
Well, you can. I thought you can. Can you get it up to?
But there's ways you can do it. I mean, Puissance has been
Yeah.
lost from the faction now, so the main damage bonus is gone. But with things like positive charge, you can get Medveditsa up. Actually, Medveditsa probably works quite nicely with Sakura, because she's got Avenging Force. Actually, no, Vengeance. That clashes with Righteous Vengeance.
Avenging Force.
They're both Vengeance moves, effectively.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the. Yeah, can make a vengeance move.
Medveditsa, I think it's 17. I don't think it's bad. But I think Medveditsa is less value in the modern day. Then we have... Now, this one surprised me more than I thought it was going to, and having played into it, it was a pain. The Mortar has gone from Rat 6 to Rat 5, but gains Suppressing Fire. Now, you might think that, just a single 2-point solo with Suppressing Fire, how much damage can that do? On average, I had 3 to 4 units a turn that were all -2 Rat from Suppressing Fire every single turn of the game I was in.
Nasty.
And it was...
AoE 3 is quite big.
Yes, it is, especially when you've got 2 units of suppressors and a unit of the assault troopers with shotguns.
If you stack that with the feet, that's just miserable. Of
Shock troopers.
Baronova.
Yes, Baronova, absolutely horrible, because then you're at -2 speed, -2 Rat, not -2 Rat, -2 range. It's nasty. The guy
There's some definite themes across faction here with that's reminded me of some of the Gravedigger abilities that have come out. That's interesting. The reducing of speed. I haven't seen that in a while, really, have we?
But the Mortar only reduces Rat. It's the feet that reduce the speed. But yes. The Mortar, even if it doesn't kill, again, doesn't have to hit now. Just has to target something. It's like, oh, there you go. That unit is now -2 Rat. And it's like, but I only had Rat 5 anyway. I'm now down to Rat 3, which again feels bad. So 2 of those with Fire for Effect is going to be a living nightmare for some people.
Some people, everyone.
Yeah. Shock Troopers gained in health, and the Pikemen gained Flank Warjack with some cut abilities to kind of take the damage back down a little bit. I haven't had the chance to play with these yet. I think they are going to be very interesting. You can definitely feel on the Gunners the change from health 5 to health 8. So I can only imagine the Pikemen who are higher armor as well, that's going to be even worse. Again, they do have to get in there. They've lost CMA, but I think that's going to be an interesting change. Winter Corps Infantry and their banner. So the Winter Corps Infantry, the standard lost Inspiration, lost Rise, but gained Human Wave. And I'm just going to read you Human Wave. During your maintenance phase, return all destroyed grunts in this model to play. Place the returned grunts within 2 inches of this model. Returned grunts must forfeit their normal movement and combat action the turn they are returned to play.
To stop that, you have to kill the standard, don't you?
I don't know how... Well, this is the thing. Okay, I'll target the standard. Cool, take up.
Take up.
Okay.
Only with an inch. Take up an inch, isn't it? So you can kill the things with an inch, but yeah, it's hard.
You can put a lot of bodies in the way of that standard dying, or you can just put.
It's going to be at the back anyway, as well, isn't it?
Or you can put it just out of line of sight, and all of a sudden this unit's like, oh boy, I can't clear this objective. I spent an entire game because they're FA6. I faced 6 units of these, all of them with Baronova's additional die to hit, half of the units with rockets, half of them with the auto cannon, and it was just going, you see that Warjack over there? Not anymore. Just blinking one of them off the table every turn with a 4 point, 5 point. Oh, sorry, 6 point with 1 point for the flag. Which, yeah, that's not pleasant.
Doesn't sound fun.
Now, obviously, there is a lot of tactical finesse to doing this, because you've now got 3 different models with take-up in the unit, and you're returning up to 3 models a turn.
Once a day, you can't bring the weapons back, you can only bring the grunts back.
Yeah. So that means that the flag and the 2 weapons you need to protect those somehow. But again, you've got 3 squishy bodies, you can just stand in the way. And in the game I had, it was largely a case of someone going, yeah, there's enough damage done to that unit, I won't bother with take up. And that was it. Absolutely horrible. I think, at least for the first half of this year, you're probably going to have at least one list that can deal with Human Wave. So some form of RFP is good.
Oh yeah, because you can't bring it back if it's not dead. Yeah.
Yep. Or just killing them outright. They are still only 13-13 one box. But yeah, that was the primary point where I realised, oh, the game has changed now, because I'm still needing 7s to hit you. Oh wait, no, 9s because you hit me with the mortar. These single wound models are going to stick around. So yeah, very interesting, big change there. I think the only other big change really is the Wintercore Officer with Desperate Pace.
That does sound very Mark II-y, the need for specific remove from play sort of models and attacks. Which I don't know if that's I don't know, that's where it starts to become quite sort of intricate.
I think an awful lot of the conversations I have started with the changes to the armies this year have started with the conversation of, it's a bit more like Mark II. Regardless of whether the rules are the same, the intention, I think, to make it more into that space is there.
And there's a positive to that. Weren't we all a bit better at this game in Mark II? So, you know.
Yes, no, that is true.
I certainly was. I remember winning things in Mark II. So, you know, it could be a return.
Yeah, back when you could memorize every single caster in the game and what they actually did.
Yeah.
Rather than going,
We still
who are
can't do
you?
that now.
What's this unit? No. Yeah. I mean, overall, looking at Wintercore, I like the changes. I don't think there's anything in there that's a really bad choice other than the existence of Avalanche.
I mean, it needed it, didn't it? Let's be fair. It was not doing, you know, Wintercore not doing well before. So
the worst thing is, as I said, a lot of this is light touch. Other than things like, other than Human Wave, everything seems to be just a point down here, a point up there, a couple of health here. Like, it's all really small changes. So whether those are all the small changes they needed, we don't know yet, because obviously there's a lot of brainstorming to be done on what the outcome of all this is going to be, because it's really thrown the meta up in the air.
yeah, very much so.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think that's cater adequately discussed.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Chimera Kurt, or are you all Chimeraed out?
I haven't studied the changes. I'm aware that we've had quite some severe changes to Valix. Valix has had quite a glow up. I haven't studied what the changes are. I know he hasn't got his range weapon anymore. But I think the short version is quite a significant change. He's supposed to be a lot better, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll be playing into him very shortly. Possibly this week, depends. Yeah, I'll be honest, I have not studied enough. Shira seems to have come down, but I couldn't tell you why and how. That's the feedback I've seen both online and from mate who plays them. But he didn't play Shiras a lot anyway, so I think fundamentally stats have come down. Trichomeric's heads have changed pricing. That's an interesting one. There's a lot of complexity there. I'm not going to get into that. That's way too much going on there. Of the way that the pricing of all the different tails and heads have all changed, but I'm going to ignore that because there's a lot going on. I think we have to come back to it when I've played into it or even studied it a bit more. But similar changes, similar stats changes.
I mean, I think a lot of the factions you see, like cost 4 goes to cost 3, cost 5 goes to cost 4. The Trichimerax is like cost 0 goes to cost 4, cost 9 goes to cost 5. It's like, this is, someone's got a dartboard here.
Well, I think it depends. I think the only way to look at that, and I'm not doing it right now, is to look at the popular builds, or the builds that I liked with Trichimerax, and see how those builds have shifted, because it may be that they swing one way and swing the other, and we'll see what happens. Or it might just be, this was a really good combination. Clearly, this is greater value. This should be more war points. This should be cheaper. I look at it that way, but we'll see. I don't even need to go into more detail than that. Interesting food for thought for going forward.
I mean, you said Shiras as well. That's a long old piece of text that I ain't going to read.
Yeah, I was trying not to say exactly that. Yes.
Yeah.
I had heard that the Vipex isn't quite as egregious, janky as fuck assassinations
it's lost the
anymore.
bonus on its head. Yeah, the Viper head, which was what made it Mat 7, it's lost that. That's the main difference. Gamer Post, Combo Strike. I think Vipex you still got to watch. You can't make it Max 7 anymore. It's still Max 6 though. So yeah, potentially, but didn't always run it with the Viper head anyway. You could run combinations with the other two heads anyway, and it still did some work. But yeah, I think it's still got sidestep, so it can still do the jank. It just needs help hitting, which goes back to Mike's point before of when you want those extra bonuses, you have to pay for them somehow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think we have anyone who's got the kind of specialization with the Legion of Everblight, so I'll skip through those. Mercenaries. I'll just do the Mark IV mercenaries because again, I don't have anyone who kind of more. Alexia, health went up to 8. Arcane attack down to 7, which is kind of where you expect. Warball MMD 47 lost a point in the map, which again, it's a ranged beast. You kind of expect that the match should be lower. And here is an interesting change that you also see on Magnus and Invictus. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, the Warboy used to have a fairly long, this beast is bonded to Carver and blah blah, and then it had the rule like halfway down the rule. Now it's like, nope, bond's gone, exhaust fumes. Like it's
so the reason for that.
It was always a bit superfluous, really, because you're never going to be able to take it with anything else.
No, but now you can.
Now you can.
But now you can. Yeah, now you can build Warball in a pig army with any of the pig carters, Pharaoh.
But what it also does is it moves that rule full front and center, so you can actually see the rule. It's not just bond Carver. I know there's a rule in here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just exhaust fumes. In the same way that Invictus lost bond Magnus but gained retaliatory strike, which was in the bond.
Just had it all the time.
Yeah, it had it. It was part of the bond.
So I didn't notice that. So I knew that Warball had changed, but then I also know that Warball can now be attached to other people. Does that mean that Invictus soon may be able to be attached to someone else?
I don't think that's as likely to be the case because
no Merc army on the horizon. You won't be able to bring back your Merc heyday.
No. We'll discuss Invictus in a second, but the Warball, because of the relaunch of Varro, effectively you've got Carver and the Warball have been split up in that faction, so you've got Carver doing one thing as a full-on Warlock, and Warball MMD 47, who can now play with Arcadius and is apparently quite sickening with Arcadius. Do you want to get your pigs out again?
I do, but I don't. But their hair's so heavy. They're also mine are all metal, so kinda. But also quite enjoying, learning to enjoy again Gravediggers. So I'm kind of sticking with Gravediggers. I like the idea though. I do like the idea of getting pigs out again. I've got the big carrot thing as well. That'd be fun. But no, like to, but maybe later.
Nostela and Aberration, all their attack stuff went down. They were really, really good. Oh, and Ore has gone. So I think there was a to hit debuff within a certain range as well.
Oh yeah, it was. I missed that.
So I think everyone knew that Nostela and Aberration were a little overtuned. I think
they were very good.
This takes them back to the point where, they're boosting to hit. It's fine. Spray 12s down to 10s. Yeah, I think it's reasonable. We'll see where that levels out later. Kruger is another one who just hit slightly with the nerf bat, just tapped. Cheaper at 6 points, but loses Ashen Veil. Most importantly, loses Mental Force.
Oh.
So now when you do the sprays, it's not the whole spray that's boosted. You pay 1 point of health for each roll you want to boost.
That's a bit more reasonable.
Yes. And also the sprays are, I think, down 2 inches. Yeah, spray 10 to spray 8.
Like everybody else's, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense. A lot of those spray 12s and spray 10s, it's like, nope, you're going down to 8, which again, I think is much healthier for the game.
I think we were surprised to see sprays of that length when they came out, to be honest. But yeah, because it's generally needs to be short things.
Spray 10 is where the game used to top out, and then you saw spray 12 and went, what?
Yeah.
Magnus, again, well, I'm not a victim, but part of the simplification of vengeance moves, because he used to have retaliation, which is like, if this happens and if this is alive at this point, you can do this. And now it's just like, oh, if you damage by an enemy attack, make a vengeance move. It just takes a lot of the
jank.
Yeah, a lot of the having to remember bits out of it. Invictus himself lost some rat, gained some pow, and gained aggressive. So super heavy warjacks that charge for free. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
But that might put his stock up on its own.
Yeah. I already thought Invictus was pretty good, but
Yeah.
now having a POW 19 chain weapon and aggressive and a 3-inch melee, also, in Kador, because it's a friendly warjack, it can trigger flank warjack on those pikemen. 80 mil base,
Yummy.
80 mil base with a 3-inch melee. Tasty.
Right, you have one of your own in a minute, don't you? Anyway, but yes.
Oh yeah, but like I'm just saying, it's another option that Kador have got. We've already got like Mastodon's got the 3-inch melee and the 120 mil base, but yeah, just as another option that takes focus pressure off the caster and off the arcanists. It's good. I don't think we can go into Blind Water, Dark Operations, Roll Guard, or Soldiers of Fortune, or Talion Charter, or Thornfall Alliance, because actually, unless Kurt, you've had.
Well, Dark Ops. The Dark Ops I was playing, but looking at Dark Ops, there was nothing to say. Their stats have gone down like everybody else's. There's very little extra change.
I mean, they had just
There's
had
a few
a fairly recent balancing, hadn't they?
They had. There's just the stat change. There are odd little lines here and there, but there's almost nothing there.
Yeah. Just skimming actually. Pharaoh Valkyries seem to be one of the victims of an ability that's being not removed from the game, but lessened in that they lost gang again. It's a map buff. It was felt they weren't very helpful for the game as a whole. So, yeah, that went out the window.
Dawnfall's lost a fair few bits to Prime to Legacy as well. There's quite a few bits there.
Oh, yes.
I had noticed till you were saying that about skimming, and I went, wait a minute.
Oh,
So,
Bone Swarm's
Gorax,
gone.
Bone Swarm, Carver Ultimus, but we knew that. Talon, all the jacks that you could bolt into this army have all gone.
Yeah, it's because they lost Rallick.
Yeah. There he is. Yeah, I couldn't foresee him. I knew he was missing there somewhere. Goblin Tinker, Gudrun's gone. Victor, Linus, and Edria, they've gone as well. And Rallick, as you say, the Trollkin mechanic guy.
Yeah, he was the
There's some other changes in him on Stormfall.
Yeah, he's the Jack Marshall who could bring them in, so him going naturally means that they all fall off the list because there's no one to control.
But then the really cool bit, Sturm and Drang, add from army to army from Legacy, cut 40 mil, gain 50 mil. What the hell?
Oh, hadn't noticed that. Base
No, I hadn't either. I hadn't noticed I've got Sturm and Drang, original one.
Well,
nice.
I mean, luckily, 40 mil base will fit inside the lip of a 50 mil, so you can just
we'll just blue tack it in. Yeah,
plonk it on top.
That makes me want to go back up and look at the Gators. I didn't look at Gators properly.
While in Sturm and Drang's control range, enemy cohort models can't gain, be allocated, or spend focus or essence.
Really?
That's quite horrible.
While in Sturm and Drang's control range, enemy models can't be used to channel spells. Psychic Apocalypse lasts for a while. Oh, and forcing is gone as well.
Drakadar went down a point. There's not a hell lot else that's going on. A few bits and pieces.
But yes, moving on, we have Orgoth. Dom, you've got some experience with these. Have you had a look at the changes here?
Yeah. So I've made no bones about my feelings of Orgoth in the past, and it just didn't quite gel for me. But these changes really interest me. I think it's a sign of a good patch when First Club Night last week was a solid choice where I nearly took any of my armies, and there was something there for everyone. For me, with the Sea Raiders, Horus got taken down a notch, everyone else got lifted up a bit, everyone has something to offer. But one of my chief complaints about the Orgoth was all the line infantry, all the Reavers were on 40 mil bases, which comes with a bunch of downsides, no actual real upsides. And there was, for me at least, there was a disconnect between how they were portrayed in the fluff as being this relentless, unstoppable army that was really hard to put down because, well, they just folded like flies. All the Reavers have now gained Last Word as a basic ability. So when you kill it in melee, when you kill it, it gets a 3-inch move and punches you before it dies. At range, not going to make a whole lot of difference, but it's going to make it really punishing to take them out in melee because they will probably give as good as they got. And I'm really excited to try this.
Yeah, I mean, being able to make a 3-inch advance and an attack out of turn is always pretty nifty anyway. The fact that you can have an ambush unit that does that is even weirder. I don't
like that.
Yeah, the fact you can just come on from the side of the table, not take your attacks, move on to the objective, and go, if you kill me, I get the attacks I lost last turn.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
that's unpleasant.
But also, Sabareth, probably one of the best spellcasters in the game now. She's got 7 spells on her card, and her feat lets her cast every single one of them for free. Insane. I'm really looking forward to trying out stuff in Orgoth, which is really surprising from where I was just a couple of
Yeah,
months
you
ago.
really. I wouldn't quite say you were nearly selling them, but you were very down on them, and feeling like yeah, it would work, and you were disillusioned with them.
Yeah, and I mean, the changes don't stop. Butcher, he no longer revives the world. He gains revive as a spell, but instead his feat will give D3+2 things. Essentially, Weapon Master, gain an additional die. But because it's gain an additional die, there's no reason you can't give that to an existing Weapon Master and just have them casually swing for 4 dice damage. This just seems fun.
To whom?
Me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that is like the Butcher 1 feat of old.
I'm sure Dan would enjoy that. You should play that into Dan or anybody else, but not me.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that.
Going back to Sabrith briefly, you're saying that, like, oh yes, could cast all 7 spells. I was like, surely some of those are middling. I'm like, oh no, they're really not, are they?
No, they're all good.
Yeah, Crippling Grasp, Death March, Ghost Walk, Hex Blast, Perdition. Like,
Sounds like score
I think
spells.
the only one that's a bit of a meh about casting it is Fog of War, just because by that point you probably don't need it anymore, but maybe you do.
I mean, you might as well do it last if you're going to do it at all. Like,
Hey,
I've done all my attacking, Fog of War.
Yeah, or if you had it up anyway, you gain a focus because you're not having to upkeep it.
Yeah.
But then they also tacked on that you get +2 inches of charge movement in her feet, which is also incredibly nice.
So what you're saying is, it's dusted off mentally the Orgoth for you.
Yeah, but I think that's true
very much.
of Wintercore as well, wasn't it?
I will say I did pick out a caster I haven't played in about 6 or 7 months because I saw the changes and went, actually, you know what, I think I'll go with Sikora. I'll see what she's like these days.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive positive about this balance is that I wasn't expecting to sit there and have a tough choice about what I played. Everything seems to be viable, or certainly it's too early to tell how viable everything is. Certainly everything's got mileage and everything has something interesting.
Definitely been a leveling effect across the board within factions, but also I think cross faction as well. It's hard to say a more positive thing than that, to be honest.
It's enough change that we won't really grasp the full impact and effect for probably not before Lock and Load in May.
It does feel like almost a whole edition change. It's like it is a 4.5 kind of level changes so much.
Yeah, I've seen a few people using that term, but apparently there's more coming.
More coming?
I can't remember where I heard it, but it was a legit source that in March they're refreshing the command cards as well. They just didn't want to do too much all at once in January.
That doesn't surprise me. I think, to be completely I don't know how controversial this is. I think the command cards are pretty much dead currently. I don't think there's really good choices in there. You just pick the same 5 almost every game.
Yeah, I just use the default pick on all my lists. I very rarely look to them. I think what it needs for them and what I would expect to change with them is that you pick them at the start of the game, kind of filling in that gap that the spell rack has left.
Yes. And then at that point, there's no chance of accidentally picking for the motherland. Yep, that's a good idea.
Are these changes going to facilitate easier to get into the game? Does it streamline, like removing some of these?
Oh, there's
granted abilities and things like that.
There's definitely bloat removal. So, like when going to Mark II, a lot of abilities were consolidated into True Sight or Eyeless Sight. I think that's what we're seeing again. It was like, okay, all these abilities we don't need granted everywhere. Just have the unit have the thing, which makes sense.
Taking inspiration off of the inspiration is just pretty much and it's anywhere, is it? It's gone entirely from the game. So your stat is your stat.
Yeah,
I
hope so.
Your UAs do not. Sorry.
It does still exist in Dark Operations.
Does it?
I forget the name of the unit, but the one that attaches onto the dominated units.
Yes,
they left it there because thematic.
Oh, okay, in that case, it is thematic.
Because the stats are really low and it makes them better, yeah.
And you kill him, it makes everyone worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen one fairly hefty complaint. It was about the Crucible Guard. That they've cut inspiration from pretty much all the standard bearers. And they went, hang on, what does the Crucible Guard Standard Bearer do at this point? Because all it is a body with a POW 9 sword. And I did have to remind us, like, you're paying 2 points for dual shot on the officer, which is pretty good for a range 12 unit going into range 16. With steam pressure and getting 2 shots a turn standing still. But what you're gaining with the standard is you're gaining take up, which in a lot of cases is really painful when someone wants to go, I need to trigger an effect. Oh, there's a def 12 unit over there. I'll shoot that guy, get a kill, and I can sprint. And like for
No,
having,
it's an RFP. You haven't killed it. Yep.
yeah, for having 1 point for a body that's just there to do that, it's not the worst thing in the world. I kind of agree that yes, it's a bit of a pain. Also, you can stick the standard out front and just have it be like, the thing that's in the way of charges or what have you. It's a 1 point body. I agree. It losing inspiration is a bit naff. I think having inspiration on every single banner in the game is just why.
Bit derivative and just kind of doesn't give you anything, does it? 'Cause everybody's got it, therefore it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's surprising me, that was the first thing that changed in order to reduce lethality. It probably was the first thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I'm scrolling through the rest of this document. I think the only thing we've really got that we can have genuine opinions on would probably be Brian Bloods. Any of those, Kurt?
Oh, I haven't looked at those. I need to find out a bit more.
Is this
it's painting.
Is this one where we wait for the next episode, or are you just gonna do?
I think we could revisit. But I've really so I'm aware of some of the changes. I'm aware that I'm scrolling down very briefly now, but Southern Quills. I'm aware that Fire Quill got a massive glow up, and is rather than being the sad cousin, is now the man. I'm not going to go into the details of that. I haven't looked at Ragemonger. His rules seem to be similar but different. The short answer is don't know. Haven't looked at it in detail. It does seem interesting. I did listen to Dice Down Gaming's review of it. It does sound like there's some interesting shifts and changes, but I don't know what they all are. It's just some interesting, it's some interesting themes going on. The theme stats drop, but also things like the anchor for the Dar Troll has gone up a power, so it's now power 20. But that's the melee range 1, which is there's a theme there as well. I swear I've seen that in a few other places.
Oh, actually, we haven't mentioned one of the major themes as well that's gone on is the removal of dual attack. A lot
of places.
A lot of stuff have lost dual attack, and if they want them to have something like it, it's now become assault again.
Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it? Because we used to have that everywhere.
Yeah, I only mentioned it because I was looking at the Lockerbash brothers, and that is like cut gang, sidestep, dual attack, and relentless charge. But also gang amphibious assault, unbreakable wall, and make their bayonets more powerful.
The gang and oh my god, what's it called? When you have the target that you're trying to hit, you get bonuses to hit it. Prey is it? I think Prey's almost entirely gone as well. Most things that so Black 13th lost Prey and they gained +2 power on their weapons. So things have either gained an equivalent weapon power or some other ability that gives them that equivalent power. But things like Prey, all those complex. So to go back to Ben's question, the things that were really hard to learn when you first played the game are almost all those are the hard rules to remember and to use. And they're the rules that when you first played and you prayed the unit straight opposite you, and then the horrible person on the other side of the table, sometimes me, would just swap those 2 units over or run them sideways so that they were nowhere near their prey target for most of the game.
I hadn't clocked that Prey had gone from the Black 13.
Yeah, it's gone from Black 13. It's gone. I think it's gone everywhere. But I'll be open to challenge. I haven't checked everything, but it's gone a lot.
I mean, it was an accountancy issue.
As well.
It was an accountancy issue. It was always one of those things that either you forgot it or just never relevant.
So with the release of the core book, they solidified these rules. Now, I guess there won't be many rules in there. Those are the evergreen rules that will be in the core book. So things like, but they will have. I mean, has anyone actually got the core book as of yet? I don't think. Yeah,
I do. Just so that I've got it as a reference at the club, easy to look up at things. Nothing that's changed in the patch notes actually has relevance to the rulebook. It's all card-based changes.
Yeah, I mean the rulebook does still reference things like the spell rack. It's just that no one has a rack anymore.
Yeah, no. Okay. But it's worded in such a way. It was already worded to encompass Mark IV armies and armies of legend, where it says some leader models can have the spell rack, and it's still there. And that might be a special feature that they want to put on certain new leaders in the future. and just have it a unique thing rather than widespread.
Or a particular
rules are still
faction
there.
might have it in the future, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I take it that the core book is mostly fluff and just evergreen rules then?
yeah, it's the core rules
Yeah.
and a bit of
Rules
fluff,
haven't changed.
pictures,
Yeah.
faction lore.
It's your core mechanics.
Cool.
As ever was thus. So
Yeah, I just find it interesting that they've released a hard, physical release of rules.
a lot of people like to have a physical rulebook. I mean,
No, I
would
like it.
I would say that
Yeah.
it's more relevant for War Machine than it is for certain other games because a lot of the actual core mechanics don't change except edition to edition. And certainly there are other games where things change much more radically day to day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I picked it up for the club mainly because I am in that PG role unofficially until they bring it back. But when people come over and have a look at the tables and ask a bit about it, it's handy just to have the book and go, oh yeah, and look, here's the artwork, here are the armies, this is kind of what it's about. It's a good tool for that.
I'm curious, does the rulebook have it like the old Mark II one where you had like a basic list of stuff per faction? Like you'd got your prime casters and your two basic
No.
Jackson. Oh, okay.
It has like a page for each army, I think.
That makes sense.
And the armies on the horizon have a half-page paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs. So Reaper Covenant has its own little section. Thane of Nero has a section, and so it does have a little amount of future-proofing. And it just gives a bit of vibe, bit of a gist for what's coming with them.
Well,
so it's not entirely dated off the shelf.
I mean, they did say the next edition is already in the works. So that they know at some point whether this release cycle ends and they move to a new one. But it was
they're going to do that in the form of a narrative, campaign.
Ask
or
Matt
something.
Hart.
Where is he? Is he here?
Not here right now, Benj.
Not right now.
Benj, we're recording a podcast in a virtual sense over Teams. None of us are anywhere.
Teams. Discord.
Teams.
Oh, sorry, over Discord. My bad. I use Teams every day at work. That was a
way to bring work into this.
Yeah, it was. It was work. Yeah.
I don't know. You're in contact with him. Get him on. Let's see the future of War Machine. I'd be interested to see when they decide to drop that, though.
I would
there was
say...
an interview about a year ago. There was an interview on the website where he mentioned a 5-year plan, which did include a new edition.
Yeah,
5-year plan.
I believe that was Wargamer, and it was an interview with Timothy Winwood.
I think so.
Who used to come to Kings Winford. Yeah. So there is, comrade, there is a 5-year plan in progress.
Everything
I've just scrolled down into old school Troll Bloods just for a laugh, and it isn't funny. The thing that's jumped out, well, it all seems very cheap. I do have all of these things to get out again if I really wanted to.
Oh no!
Well, we are playing into them with one of our with Rich Dean is playing Trolls of late. He picked up an army. Troll Mauler has gone down to 12 points. That thing used to be 16 not that long ago.
Yeah, Rich was quite excited to message me and say, my lists are all fine, and I've got an extra 3 or 4 points to play with too.
Yeah, I can see where it comes from. Jesus.
Oh no, what have we done?
That's all right. I don't think I want to go back and do that. The idea. I have it all.
You don't want to make people sad again.
Which is doing that enough for all of us. I don't mean outrage. Not in a personal sense, just with the trolls. Jesus. He did say to me on chat that he didn't want to play me this week, because he has beaten me several times lately. But I made out that he didn't want to play me because of the changes and how good Gravediggers are now, which was a lie, but it was funny. Yeah. I think we'll come to the end of the list. So we move on to the next item.
I think we can have we're going to have a very quick skim over Steamroller.
Well, I think we look at the new things. The new things in Steamroller. How's that? That's probably better to look at it, isn't it?
That's fair enough.
I mean,
so
considering we recently went over all the old Steamroller, do we want to just throw the cat under the bus, as it were, and go, flags are still fucked?
I think flags are still in not a great situation.
But that's a terrain issue. I still think, I know we said it before, but I think that's to do with how much terrain and size of terrain on the table, more than anything else.
I think we've just got to live with the fact that for now, it's going to have to be a case of, if you think the table is unfair with flags, call the TO. Like, don't even spend 2 minutes going, this table looks rubbish. There's only one choice of flag. Call the TO.
Yeah.
Or if you agree with your opponent, just mess with the table. If you can't agree with your opponent, call the TO. Like, there are you are all adults here. You can sort this out. It's fine.
That's
I would mess with the table. I would mess with the table until my opponent called the TO. That's fine.
But no, I mean, there is a certain assumption. It's like, if an objective goes in the middle of the house, you're gonna have to move a piece of terrain anyway. So it's assumed that you can make sensible suggestions as to
This is a lot of assumptions on a wargamer.
And again,
I think this comes from us all having been TOs, though, doesn't it? That comes from having run games.
There is also a TO there to help in the case that you need one, but just call one over. There is a minor change to flags, in that scenario terrain. If you have a solo, you do not need a second model to control. Now,
You mean they do something now? You think solos do something now?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Killbox has been taken off scenarios and just put into a general every scenario's killbox, which is excellent. That takes some accountancy out of it. I think that's about the only changes for the kind of the big overall headline. This is how everything works.
Leaders also got the capture a scenario terrain by themselves, as well as solo.
You only need one there, which is nice. A general theme is that everything has been moved more towards the centre line between you and your opponent, so squished into the mid-table, and moved sideways out a little. Stuff can be like 6 to 8 inches from the table edge now. So you still have trench warfare. That is very much the same. 2 fronts. The only change there is that the bonus VPs have been reduced for having both of a single type of objective.
The objectives are offset as well, so you can't easily score both with the same model or unit anymore.
Yep, there has been some slight fiddle with the measurements. Assume that kind of goes for most things. There's only one scenario where the pieces are in the same place, and we will get to that one. Wolves at Their Heels has a new mechanic where you can opt not to move your 40 mil. It's the 40 mil that moves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Or you can move it and add a token, and rather than being distance based as to when you score the bonus points, it's when you add the third token. So I think there's some good tactical choices in there. If you think it's not in your interest to move it forward, don't. Just say no, I won't take a token, and it's your opponent that moves it. But if you don't take a token to try and trigger that extra VPs, it doesn't move. So yeah, that's an interesting one. The first new one is Scenario 4, which is Pressure Point. So the first consideration for this one was, according to, I think, Jamie P., can we make a scenario that's entirely flags? The answer is no. They need at least 150 mil. So what you have is there are 4 flags on the table that are all determined position-wise by second player.
The defender.
Yes, true. Actually, yes. Yes, actually, that is a key point. Player 1 is now the attacker.
Pedantry, but valid pedantry.
Player 2 is now the defender. Yes, but it stops that whole second player, second turn kind of nonsense.
We're going to keep saying it, though. We know we are, but yes.
So the defender chooses where the 4 flags go, and they are slightly... 1, 2, 3, 3, 50. They are slightly closer in general to the attacker than the defender. At the initial board state, but obviously that can shift. And then central table, there's a 50. The objective is worth 2 and the terrain's worth 1. Anyone tried this one so far?
This is the one that me and Kurt played.
Oh, okay.
So I was the defender, and I picked that from the roll-off because I really wasn't going to cede control of where all the flags go to my opponent.
That's a good,
that
correct
felt
decision.
really bad. So I shifted them all, of course, as far my way as possible. An interesting note is that they're actually not too far apart, that you couldn't put, if you wanted to be a dick, you can put 2 flags on the same bit of terrain. You don't score it twice because you only score it becomes scenario terrain and you score the terrain once,
Yeah.
no matter how many flags are on it. But if you wanted to reduce the scoring opportunities on the table, and there is a forest in the right place, for example, it will reach. I think the flags are 11 inches apart. So with a 5-inch range, you could reduce the number of scoring opportunities on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only instance it would matter that there were 2 on there is the piece of terrain was destructible in some way. Because obviously then you could spawn 2 flags from it. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I hadn't actually clocked that. Yeah, if you got a big enough piece of terrain, that you just both go in the same one.
Yep.
Oh, that's a choice. Okay.
But I mean that occurred away from the game table to me because it was more my rules pedantry, wondering if they'd even thought of this. And there is a query on the rules Discord asking exactly this. Not got an answer last I checked, but as a scenario, I was quite impressed at how fun it was to play. It felt incredibly wide, incredibly wide.
Oh yeah, I mean
I think
that just made choices about where you wanted to focus your efforts.
Yeah, the two widest flags are within 6 inches of the table edge. Like that's crazy wide for a steamroller scenario.
I think my takeaway from this, and I think this is the extreme to an extent, but there's a lot that are almost the same. There's quite a lot of objectives that are 8 inches from the edge. This was obviously very wide, but then you move them a bit to obviously onto terrain. I think my key takeaway was the stock in ambush is going to go up.
Yeah.
Ambush is going to be very, very strong for a lot of these scenarios. So I would say you want at least one ambush unit in one of your lists. Just to contest if nothing else, and ambush units are often higher defense, so they're going to stick around a bit more than they used to. Yeah, that was my takeaway. You need big battle groups are great, but they'll hold a dense middle up to a point, and you can spread a battle group, 25 inches across. But 25 inches across is not enough to reach a lot of these things on the edges now. It's too far. You need to have more independent units as well. I was waffling around to having units that can operate, or little modules. So a unit and a seller that work together, for example, that can go out on the edge and hold their own. I think that's where my thinking is leaning now.
I think those forces that can successfully field like a good hardy unit, a solo that does something, and maybe a junior with either a light or a heavy, just to kind of give it a little bit of tactical flexibility. They're going to gain from this kind of very wide scenario.
Yeah.
Or anyone with extended control range.
No, I haven't thought of that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking stock for Vilkel in Umbre has gone up, certainly.
Yes, no, that is a valid point.
Plugger. Didn't think about that. I didn't stretch Plugger out wide as much as I could have done. I was more thinking about the middle and trying to threaten Strix the whole time. But yes, I think extended control range is very good for that. I think the wider scenario is there's definitely some Gravedigger benefit in the sense of being able to drop a jack in with a unit out on the edge when they're in the right position. That could be quite strong.
So
lots of learning.
Actually, one more point about this. Well, not specifically this scenario, but something that has changed with Steamroller that has been the bane of my life for years. All the scenarios now have all the measurements on them. So if you want to know where something is, it has both measurements required to place it on the table. The deployment zones are even marked, which I know the values haven't changed in a while, but just having it like this player is 6 inches on the table, this player is 11 inches on the table.
Well, it's like we used to battle it loudly with SFG people within earshot.
Yeah, no, it's been a bugbear of mine for years. It's like, just because you've measured once for this thing over here doesn't mean I don't need the measurement for this thing over here, just for putting stuff on the table easily. Yeah.
My favourite bit is the fact that there's no more measure from the other side of the table.
Oh, well, I know there is, I think, one instance of that. It's a really weird... Oh, actually, no. It is... Yeah, it's all from your own side, but there are some much longer measurements now, which is fair. Like, specifically in this one, Pressure Point has one that's 31 inches out from your deployment zone. But it does make more sense. for that, like, quarter of an inch difference it's going to make.
Especially on a flag that's going to move anyway.
Yep.
I mean, invariably, it's when you're trying to measure from your opponent's side of the table, they've already put models in the way from where you're trying to put your tape measure.
Yeah.
Absolutely useless.
So, okay, well,
Deliberately, obviously.
yeah. Let's move on to scenario 5, which is high stakes, which I think is the one that there's going to be the most mistakes on.
You're right.
So high stakes. If anyone remembers the old sacrifice scenario, I think this is a spiritual successor of it.
Go back a bit.
You have, it is going back a hell of a long time. That's when we had radial scenarios. You have the attacker with a 40 and a flag, defender with a 40 or 50 and a flag. The 40s and the flags are nearer the flanks, with the flags being 8 inches from the side of the table, and the 50 is pretty much dead center. They all score 1. However, if someone controls the 50 mil, right, so at the end of each player's turn, before scoring, if players secured the 50 mil objective, that player must choose that objective or another objective terrain and remove 1d3 countdown tokens. Now, it is both the flags and the 50 mil that start with 5 countdown tokens.
Yep.
Yes, 5 countdown tokens. And you're choosing which one to lose d3. Once they reach 0, before scoring, the important part, they explode. Anything within the objective terrain, or within 3 inches of the objective, or within 3 inches of impassable objective terrain, suffer a Power 14 magical blast damage roll. If no one secures the 50 mil, you roll a d3 and remove 1 from either the blue objective terrain, the red objective terrain, or the 50. I will honestly say that Dan and I forgot several times in ours and had to kind of play catch up. Nothing exploded because it was really hard to get control of that 50 mil in the center of the table. As a bonus, if you can get something down to 0 countdown tokens and explode, it then becomes worth bonus victory points. I think it's
one extra, so it doubles. I see.
Yes, once it's blown up, it's worth more.
That's an interesting risk for reward choice. Do you want to try and blow up your own one for the extra points, or your opponents to just kill their stuff?
Yep, because you can. It's like, oh no, you're gonna score a victory point there and potentially be ahead. Well, what if I just blew your army up? Like, take Power 14 on everything. Like, oh, that's bad. Yeah, because it's D3. You can't do it reliably either. I think it's a fun scenario. It's got a lot of potential. I also think it's got the potential for the most mistakes. Am I certain it should have been in here? 50-50. I don't know. We'll have to see how it works out across the year. Current gut feeling, though, is that, it's going to be the most misplayed scenario. Okay, then we have scenario 6, which is Fault Line, which is also new. So we have... This one almost feels like a 40k scenario because of some of the wording. It's 2 50s, so center of the table, 2 40s closer to the attacker deployment zone, and then 2 40s on the other side closer to the defender deployment zone. Each one is worth 1. However, if you secure 2 of your own objectives, you score a bonus VP, and if you score all 3, you score another bonus VP. Which does feel a bit, win more.
Okay.
If you can control all 3, that game is probably done and busted anyway. It's a little bit incursion in that you've got that kind of those 3 lanes across the table.
3 lanes. It makes it sound like League of Legends.
I mean, what did Rich Loxon play?
Indeed.
Lot?
Yeah, quite a lot. I listened to Rich playing quite a lot of League of Legends. I just remember.
Exactly. And given the requirements now for line of sight blocking terrain, which I think is either 4 or 5 pieces, something like that. I think it's gone up. You could legitimately say, there are 3 lanes on this table. I think this. I've not. Has anyone played this one? I certainly haven't.
No, I haven't yet.
No. I mean, I'd say at first glance, it's a bit incursion-y, but I don't think there's much more you can say than that. It doesn't do anything.
It's going to be swingy as hell, isn't it? It's going to be. If you start to get the advantage, you are just going to win.
Yeah. Like you say, it's win more. It's going to snowball at some point.
But I think
quite quickly, potentially, unless you keep control of it.
In the cases where you are losing the game and there is no way back in, is that a bad thing?
You're done.
Is it a bad thing if it just says no, the game stops here, you've lost?
I mean, there isn't a whole lot more to say on this one. It's quite straightforward, really.
It's a bit of a Ron Seal scenario, isn't it? It does what it says on the tin. Okay. Let's move on to the last one. So most TOs for the length of this edition have been rolling a d6 to do their scenarios. I recommend they still do so because there is now a seventh
What? Ignore this one.
Yep, payload. There is one the measurements are all exactly the same. One change has been made in that you can now score the flag, which good point for consistency. Absolutely love it. Well done. The scenario can burn in hell.
You're not a fan.
I loathe payload.
After they made such good improvements to Wolves and how that plays, I'm shocked and disappointed they didn't do the same for payload.
Yeah.
You could have had it so that the flags were caches instead. On a vaguely related note, caches are only featured in trench warfare. That's the only scenario they're in.
Oh yes,
But
that's a very good point.
you could have replaced the flags in payload with caches so that they're fixed and defined, and then it becomes a more predictable approach to the scenario rather than one player who might have another 5 inches to move than the other.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen something like that just to standardise it, but alas.
The opposing argument is, as always, if you think there's going to be a difference in the player advantage from one side to the other, then that becomes part of the roll-off and side selection.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get. There should be, you should be able to use the terrain to your advantage. That's fine. I think it being a swing of 3 VP possibly puts it too far for me. I do not know how this made it back in. I reckon the logic behind having 7 scenarios, which was actually valid, was that more and more events are going to 7 rounds. We recommend that you have an individual scenario for each round and don't repeat. Perfectly fine. This does now mean that we kind of have to play this at the Welsh.
Seems that way.
Yeah, I have so many questions. Overall, I don't think we can read too much into is this a good or a bad.
I mean, it's the same sort of debate with terrain again, isn't it? If you've got enough small terrain, then it should, I'm going to say should be more even. It's the inconsistencies of terrain that create the bigger problems, isn't it? I do get there's more to it than that to an extent, but
yes. In fairness, I'll agree with you there. I'll say the scenarios we've lost are Colour Guard and Best Laid Plans. Colour Guard, I don't think anyone is really shedding any tears over that going away. That was a disaster piece of a scenario.
I didn't hate it, but I don't miss it either.
I'm quite glad that they're both gone myself.
Yeah, Best Laid Plans I think they could have fixed. I won't particularly mourn its loss, but I think they could have fixed it.
I mean, that is the surprising one. I wasn't a fan of it, and I'm glad it's gone. But I'm surprised that it did go, really.
I think if they had kept it, it would probably be too similar to Faultline.
Yeah.
But I get the reason. Yeah, I think overall I do like the idea to get stuff more in the centre. Well, more in the centre between the players, but also more out towards the edges, so that people who are paying for ambush. Yeah, you are now going to be within range of those units when they come on, if they can shoot, or they're going to be able to move up and tie up your unit. I do think that some of the more weird rules, like this scores 0 or whatever, most of those have kind of gone away, which is good. It doesn't feel like it's as overstretched as it was.
No, it feels at the moment like a good pack, and I am looking forward to playing more of it.
Yeah. So I've got another game on Thursday, so that should be interesting. So hopefully bringing it to Vilcool, seeing how that matchup's changed.
I think there's less inconsistencies though, aren't there? Which I think that's the biggest strength. There's less variation. We haven't got lots of janky points variations and of scoring and stuff.
One important thing: if you look at any of the pages in the Steamroller pack, there is a coloured box at the top that tells you what everything scores. It's not just lost in the middle of the text somewhere. You can actually see it's a big sort of line above, line below, differently coloured. An objective is worth 1, scenario terrain is worth 1, and then anything else is worth this. Like, cool, that's great.
That is much clearer. I agree.
Yeah. Now, if you have been using the website sr25.onrender.com, there is now sr26.onrender.com. And you can see the new 7 scenarios with all their measurements and also some basics on how to score it there. So you did a quick guide that still exists. And still archives, I believe, the last 3 scenario packs.
I think so. I think they're still live.
Yep, sr24.onrender.com is still there. You too could experience the weirdness of the first pack and things like Invasion. Yes. But anyway, any further thoughts on this year's pack?
I think there's lots to learn. We need to get out there and play the new ones.
Yeah.
There's lots to learn, like there always is with the change of pack. I think there's more changes than we've had in a while, because even the ones that haven't changed have spread, as you said, and condensed slightly. So get out there and play them is is probably the easiest way. You could stare at them all day long, but playing them is when how you really learn them, I think.
It's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Okay. Well, that being said, I guess we can move on to any other business. So, Dom, any other business?
Well, first of all, on my painting table, I've been slowly putting in bits of detail on my 2 Lords of the Hunt. They feel like they're nearly done. I've just got the rider to do. There is a lot of little bits of detail that's taking up longer than I expected, but they're coming along nicely. I'm really liking this model, and more reason to play them once they're all painted. But away from the painting table, just a shout out to my next event. The Spring Storm Rager is the 28th and the 1st of 20th February and the 1st of March. This is my first 2-day event in an effort to get people to travel from further afield and get bigger numbers. And it's working. We currently have, between Longshank sign-ups and ticket sales, 17 attendees with a cap of 24.
Nice.
And we are 5 rounds. So the fact that we've got to 17 players means that there is a very real chance that we will have those 5 rounds. And I've just started doing a weekly post for Facebook and the club website, just diving into some of the price support that I've got, one of which is Warmag, who are actually, their offices are 20 minutes down the road, just in Exeter, which was quite a surprise. And they've sent, they're down at Exeter Airport.
Wow.
Yeah, and they've been great. They've sent through a number of prizes, which is really, really cool. And I'm also, so on the weekly posts I'm doing, showing off the prizes, I've just started to show off some of the 2.5D art, where I've got an image from War Machine, whether it's a Warcaster, and printing it in layers in different colours on the 3D printer gives a really nice textured effect with a proper colour pop to it. So there will be enough of them for everyone.
They look quite nifty.
Yeah, there will be enough of them for everyone to have one, all attendees. So I'm a big fan of giving something to everyone, and it seems to fit the bill. So it's shaping up to be a really exciting weekend, but there's still time and space if you want to come along and haven't got your ticket yet. We do have all of the Blackwater Cantina guys coming along. So unless you want to throw your hat in the ring, Mike, Kurt will be left to defend Elite Card Race Honour all by his lonesome.
I'm looking at it. I think it is plausible. I can't make any decisions though until the end of the month because I am I'm utterly skint. So
who isn't?
It's January.
It's January.
I looked at the credit card bill and went, "Oh no, that needs paying off in totality this month. Like, make it go away." It's been a lean one, but no, I think dates wise that is entirely possible. We shall start. I did look at the journey. I was like, okay, so I leave my house, get on the M6, get on the M5, stay on the M5,
Stay on the M5,
stay on the M5, stay on the M. Oh, and then I stop. Okay.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah, it is. Although it does suggest an alternate route of perhaps you might choose to go through Wales.
Only if the M5 is shut.
Well, actually, time-wise, going through Wales going down through Ross and Y, and
Yeah.
oh, what's the major town it goes through?
I miss playing in Ross and Y.
Anyway, there's a major town. Yeah, Ross and Y was a nice place to go to. There is a town it goes through, and you kind of like turn back on yourself and then go across the bridge the other way, which would be a weird experience. And I'm not sure I want to have it.
With the race courses, yes, I can't grab it. Anyway, yes, there's a race course there, isn't there? Yeah.
Yes,
Moving on.
I shall. It's on my list.
Well, it would be great to have you if you can make it, but I appreciate schedules and timings and all of the above
Yeah.
make things difficult.
Okay. Cool. So what were the dates for that again? Just quickly.
28th of February to the 1st of March.
Yeah. And that is definitely on Longshanks at Spring Storm Rager.
Yep.
Look at who's signed up there already. Okay. Oh yes, I'd forgotten that. Byron's back.
Oh.
I've seen him.
Yeah, I think Mark.
I've seen him signed up to a couple of tournaments. Like, Byron, are you sure?
I think Martin's kidnapped him.
Yes.
And just dragging him along.
I want you to be judged at the Welsh. Well, I haven't even played. Well, you're coming to this thing then.
Yep. So, okay. Cool. Kurt, any other business?
The only thing is my painting table. I've been sat here painting some more gravediggers, painting some light jacks. Because with the changes to stats and Matt and Rat going down, I felt the need that I need things that can flare enemy models to drop their def by 2 to give me a chance of hitting them. So light jacks with the flare guns and 2 heavy machine gun crews who can flare if they hit in their first shot. So yeah, give me more options. And also
here we go. The entire meta of the game changes, so stuff's harder to hit, and Kurt's just there going, but what if it wasn't harder to hit?
What if it wasn't hard to hit? And also, what if when I happened to flare it, it happened to trigger some big cannons that were sat at the back to just shoot and hit it? And yeah, power 16. No.
Oh,
yeah, another reason for ambushes. Getting rid of those bloody guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, ambushes is the other thing. I need an order will be placed tomorrow. I need some ambushes. I need some Grimdig commandos and the character solo that go with them as well. I'll go Brock. Definitely need some variation. I think and try some new things. I did try that first game last week was try the previous list with a different caster and see what happened. And it was a close game. It felt like a close game. It felt like it swung, but I came away going, that did not work the way it worked before. That did not work the way it worked before. Right, try something completely different and see how that feels. And then probably meet somewhere in the middle is probably the reality. Yeah, so I've been painting that. Painting yellow and red cigar gravediggers.
I thought you were going to go into I Can Sing a Rainbow there.
Not quite. How about you, Mike? Any business? What's on your painting table?
So I have actually, for the first time in far too long, cracked at the airbrush this weekend because I have a 40k event coming up, to which I have submitted a meme list. For those who do play 40k, it's a 1,000 points random doubles tournament. So you take 1,000 points, you're assigned a random teammate each game. And normally people go, oh yes, I've got a mix of like infantry and vehicles, and no. My list for 1,000 points is 5 models. I'm playing Grey Knights, and it is 4 Dread Knights and an Adversary Assassin. And that's all I'm taking. My turns are going to be so short. It's going to be a marvellous, relaxing weekend. Other people are
things that can't die, things that really don't want to die, and are quick to activate. Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have at least gone through the effort of equipping them differently. You know?
I thought you were going for some knights for a sec then.
I do have plenty of Grey Knight Terminators. It's just that I chose not to put any of them in my list. I've also put them in the specific detachment that says I don't need to roll if I do an advance. I just move an extra 6 inches, which is great because that's the maximum you can roll. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I've done the Zenithals on them. They're waiting their metallics, but at the same point, I had gone to club, and having played with fully painted lists for several months last year and only kind of swapped a couple of models in and out, having had the patch notes and changed even more stuff, it's like I'm not as happy with this anymore because I've got unpainted stuff in my list. It's hurting me. So I spent several hours getting undercoats on most of my direwolf weapons, getting a base coat on Razor, the Shock Trooper pikemen, another direwolf chassis, snipers. I did do one of the sniper dogs, just like from start to finish, which was I did it with contrast paints, so that took all of about 20 minutes to do as a full paint, which was nice. And then because I'd been promising to myself for months and months and months, I actually got around to painting Alexia. Because, long story short, I hate the studio scheme for Alexia, the weird zombie goth look that she's got, which has never been how Alexia's looked before. I thought I would do mine, which is my standard scheme of her with the purple cloak and blonde hair. And that's like, yes, I can put that on the table. That will look fine. Alexia is turning to be more and more on my lists because once you can resurrect an armor 23 Man of War in the middle of the table, it gets a bit rude. So next on the table may actually be Savarin, because I've got him in his almost pure white that I want to start him in, although it is somewhat intimidating looking at a model and going, if I overpaint anything, I need to repaint it this white, and that worries me.
Mm-hmm.
It's my first experience with trying the Pro Acryl bold titanium white, even if it was just through the airbrush. It covered black remarkably well. We'll have to see.
Wow.
We'll have to see how it goes on with a brush, because obviously the airbrush is very good at getting thin but very consistent covering coats very quickly. But yeah, no, so far no complaints about Pro Acryl bold titanium white. Hopefully that stays the way it is. But yeah, I literally have a toffee tray full of stuff that's just base coated for Kador and needs metals and washes putting on, and that's about it. So actually, the one thing I didn't mention, I did mention it actually, yes, is the gun with the additional die to hit on infantry. They've all gone through the base coating process because they're quite nifty. I like those. Pair of 12s that can hit when you're only at 4 is pretty good. So
I do like it a lot more than volume fire for a lot of the chain guns.
volley fire is interesting, but it doesn't. It does the reverse of what you want on the hit roll, because usually it's the small bases you want the help with, and the large bases you don't. But it's giving you the +2 for the large base and nothing for the small. Whereas giving you an additional die on what will usually be small and medium bases, but a power 12, perfect. I'll take that all day, every day. I think that's a great choice of they've actually added lethality to that thing. So yeah, okay. I think that's that done. After which, it just remains to say you've been listening to Elite Cadre, the War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Mike.
I've been Kurt.
And I've been Dom.
Benj fell in a hole.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre, a War Machine podcast. Music provided by Martin de Bont and Symphony of Spectres. For more details on War Machine and its upcoming releases, please visit steamforge.com.